Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Amy Gair. I am the CEO of Avid Resources, LLC, and today we will be discussing the black dollar. Now, I have a project here for you. You guys can check it out in the link below, and it is called the Black Dollar Brown Barter. How we can keep our dollars in our community. For a brief introduction, once again, my name is Amy Gair. I am the CEO of a business consulting management company. It is called Avid Resources. More about myself. I'm probably considered the weird one in the group. My name is really Amy, and it was God-given. And I am blessed to have a wonderful family. If anyone is here for the credibles, well, I have a bachelor's degree in science for business entertainment from Los Angeles Film School. I have over 200 certificates on LinkedIn Learning, as well as I have 20 years in event planning, customer service, and administration. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you and how you and all of our community can come together and increase our revenue. Now, before I can teach you about how you can increase your revenue within our community, I have to tell you about the black dollar. So, the black dollar, what is the black dollar? Well, in this year alone, we have spent $1.2 trillion, and it is tracked to spend in 2024 $1.8 trillion. When the Black Wall Street was going on, our dollar circulated for a whole year within our community before leaving outside of our community. These days, it only lasts about 6 hours within our community, and only 2% stays within our community. Black companies are demanding their place in the marketplace, and are in the boardrooms and against competitors. Companies have failed to meet the expectations of our visions and our projections. There's also a leverage that you guys are missing. And because of that, we're missing out on revenue we could take advantage of. Other cultures are taking advantage of this revenue. And so we, as a people, need to understand how we could take advantage of that revenue. We have an opportunity to increase our economic households, but not by the regular way that you think. We have opportunities to take advantage of the laws that are in place and find loopholes within the laws that are already there. And last but not least, looking at the gray areas in our economics, we can capitalize over that and create investments for growth. So the big question is, why aren't we thriving? Why don't we have if we have the spending power, why don't we have the economic resources we need within our communities to grow? Well, because we have that spending power, that does not mean it comes back to us. As I mentioned before, it circulates only 6 hours within our communities, and then it goes to other communities. We only keep 2% of the revenue that is used for our resources. And there are several arguments as to why this is, why aren't we thriving? We have systematic and systemic racism. There's a lack of unity within our community. There's no set values that we can go off of or refer to. And of course, the impact of slavery. So with all of these arguments and all of these structures put in place to keep us down, what is the solution? How do we gain our power back? And that is what I'm going to answer today. Shout out to Ross Mack from Maconomics. Go check him out. He makes some very valid points and asks some great questions. First one is, what is our solution? How do we move forward from these different gaps and wealth gaps and economic gaps and employment gaps, housing gaps? How do we move forward? how do we change the trajectory of spending habits and power? Because we spend more than we make. So if we could spend more than we make, then we could utilize some of those funds to put back into our communities. How do we use money as a tool to reverse spending outside of our communities? How to change our relationship with money, how to track accounting inflows and outflows, and of course, you gotta buy black. Now, Mr. Mack raises some great questions, but buying black doesn't mean that it is going to solely close that gap. We have to do something else in order to make sure that gap is closed and those revenues are increased on our end. And if you check out Mr. Mack's videos, he mentions that in the Asian community, their dollar stays within their community 28 days. In the Jewish community is 19. In the white community is 17 days. And if you go back and research Black Wall Street, our dollar circulated for 1 year. There is something that we can do to increase our spending and keeping our money within the communities. And that is what you're here for. So this came about from me thinking about how we as a community can come together or increase our revenue, our wealth gap, our economics, our resources as a people, instead of searching outside like reparations or other entities to fund us. So my first thought was, hey, we need to just have our own money system. And I did the research, and looking into the research, that is an offense punishable up to 5 years in prison. And it could be a fine, prison, or both. So we can't make our own money, and that is so sad because that's where I was going with this initially. So if we can't make our own money, how do we leverage our spending power and close the wealth gap? That was the next question I had. This led me down a rabbit hole for which I ended up doing a bunch of researches. And that is why, if anyone wanted to join my Twitter about this discussion, I could not join because I was researching all of what we needed to know regarding how we can leverage our community spending. So one of the things that I researched was about our relationship with money. One of the things we have to understand is money is a tool, and it's not to be utilized for entertainment or luxury. Money should be utilized for equity. And so because our relationship with money is tied to entertainment and luxuries, because of the personas we see, we need to change our relationship with money in order to think about how we can leverage it. Now, some of you guys are going to hate me for this next statement, but it's so true. We need to get back into church. What you don't understand is that there are so many laws in place for us not to win. So we have to utilize the laws that are in place for us to win. One of the laws is church and state. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to express this to you because our community has stopped going to church. But what you fail to realize is that church and state is separate. Do you guys know that church is a vice state and the state has to protect the church? You have to utilize that. And we have to get back to utilizing the church's resources. So this is a message to churches, pastors, ministers. It's your time. It's your time to create those resources within your temple, within your center, to be able to leverage those resources. I can teach you how to leverage those resources in a way where everyone involved is increasing their revenue. So this is what I mean. You need to have a child care center. You need to have an elder care center. You need to have other resources that you can utilize, such as literacy classes and other classes that you can teach our people on how they can leverage their incomes and their revenues and for their businesses or just for sole proprietorships. It is the church's job to create a network of resources in order to be leveraged by those from the outside of the community within the church, and as well as those businesses who need help and need more revenue. So I hear you say, Amy, yeah, you talked about the church. Oh yeah, we need some financial literacy. We also need to understand our relationship with money. But what does that mean, Amy? What does that mean? What we are missing is the understanding of trade. You see, basic trade is you going out to spend your money for a product and you trade the dollar for whatever product it is. But what other cultures have realized is they use the trade system within their communities to create revenue and to keep services within their communities. Now, we've all heard that this digital dollar is going to roll out soon. But what you haven't realized is just because they signed the contract doesn't mean that they have it down pat. There are phases to rollouts. And so there will be a phase within the United States of the digital dollar rollout. They will see if it's going to work for us. And if we don't stamp it at the Black community, if we don't put our stamp on it, if we don't roll it out, if they don't see a thriving response within that digital dollar, then they won't roll it out. What you have to understand is that it has to be adopted, a model has to be created, it has to be approved and signed by Congress, and then it goes through the rollout phase. And even within the rollout phase, there will be some mistakes and risks that are involved, and they will have to mitigate those risks. Okay, Amy, so you said all of this. You talked about so many things: the Black spending, the digital dollar, church, financial literacy, and trade. But what does that all equal to? Well, I'm here to tell you, if we create a system called the brown barter, we can leverage our dollars. So what is the brown barter? Well, we're going to take everything that we just mentioned, the Black spending, the digital dollar, the churches, and financial literacy. We're going to add all those things together and times it by the trade. We're going to times it by the trade, and that equals the brown barter system. So I know you guys aren't following along. Okay, A plus A plus A plus A times D equals what? Okay, I get it. How do we do this? How do we maneuver and leverage our funds? Well, bartering is considered a legal trade, and every dollar that you barter is taxable income. Not just taxable income, but you can also increase the market value of whatever services you provide. So boom, did that just hit y'all? Did y'all get that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Let me repeat. The barter system is taxable income, and you can utilize the barter system to do fair market or above market value for your services that you charge for. So I have an example for you guys. Now, this example includes the church, but bartering can be between two people. It doesn't need a facilitator. But the thing is, you guys have to come to an actual agreement and write it down. So this particular example includes the church because this is a larger barter system that could be utilized. So the church, ABC, works with a management company to build the local barter system. Testing attorney attends ABC church. Dollhouse Hair also attends the church. The ABC Church owns a child care. The ABC Church requests the testing attorney to take 3 underprivileged clients for barter. In return, she can receive her hair done twice a month from the Dollhouse Hair. The Dollhouse Hair received child care from the church for 2 of her children every month. Although this seems like free services, each business can claim taxable income for the barter. So, the attorney can book her hours for the barter and charge on her accounting books. The hair owner can also book for the hairdo, whatever type of hairdo it is, as well as whatever services she provides. The church can also get taxable income for the 2 children from the hairstylist for whom they watch, and use that as taxable income. And the actual management company that sets it up can also create a taxable income barter agreement to where they can use that as the revenue and create a fee for their services. No money has been exchanged, just a barter. It's not free services because you can claim it on your taxes. Although you may not be able to get the tangibles, which is being eliminated anyway, you're able to get the revenue on paper so you can increase your revenue over the year. So let's go back and say that the attorney only gets 1 client a month. Well, now she can possibly get 1 to 3 clients a month with this barter system. You know, we are tapping into an unknown or an older trade system, and we need to utilize it before they roll out the digital dollar. Now, one great thing about this is no one can tell you who or how you can utilize this barter system. It's whatever you guys come up with. The problem with the digital dollar is every single transaction will be recorded, and they can deny you services if they feel you don't deserve them. Now, going back to the church and it being a facilitator, the reason for that is due to the laws about church and state and how church is separate from state. And so because it's in the law that the state has to protect the church and the church advises the state, this is how we can get our voices heard, recognized by the state, and then they have to protect our resources through the barter system. That's why we utilize the church. Not to mention, if you had a facilitator, this facilitator could give out vouchers. Vouchers are also legal and considered within the barter system. The facilitator, the church, can give out vouchers for other people that may not be within our community to utilize these services and be able to circulate those vouchers for that revenue. So are you guys following? Are you guys following me? Are you excited? Are you getting excited? You should be getting excited because this is how we're going to increase our revenue. They can't tell us what we can do. In other retrospects, they can tell you where to spend your money, how you can spend your money, who you can spend it with. They can counsel you. Well, when you have these type of barter systems, you can only cancel yourself because you're bartering with someone else, or you set up a system to where you say you're only going to give so many services to the facilitator in order to receive services back. Now, this can go either other ways. The attorney can need a caterer, or the caterer could need, people, or, and people. So then you can have where the church is providing the people, and, It goes all these different ways, and I want you guys to take advantage of it. So what else do I need to say? It's time to get busy. You guys need to get on your game, figure out your financial literacy so that way you can record these types of barters within your company and increase that revenue. You can do this today. Hey, and if you need help, I'm here. You can reach out to Avidresource LLC. You can go to my website, or you can give me an email. I'll have that available for you in the link or the bio below. And you guys reach out to me and start creating this revenue system that other people are utilizing that we have no idea about. We need to utilize this within our communities to increase our revenue so that we do have more revenue to report and be able to get the things we need for our resources. We don't need to reach outside into another entity. We don't need reparations, which I do believe they still owe reparations. I'm not saying that they don't owe them. All I'm saying is we don't need it to start this. And we also need people who are willing to go look into these loopholes, figure out how we can utilize the leverage in order for us to be better people and have the resources we need. So with that, I bid you adieu, and I hope you stay tuned to all the other materials that I have coming up. Thank you, guys.